Well, Tim Rafferty came out of St. Louis and played for us, was a very team-oriented guy, successful in the classroom, played multiple positions, and was a key performer on a team that went to Omaha.
October 25th, actually, it's like an anniversary that I'll never forget. It started as any normal day, and all of a sudden I got super dizzy, disoriented, and the next thing I knew, I couldn't move the left side of my body. I tried to get someone's attention, and I couldn't get any words out. They confirmed that I, in fact, did have a stroke. My only question and response was, like, am I ever going to be able to walk again? And he was pretty honest and had said that because of the location of the bleed that caused your stroke, I don't expect you to walk again.
It was kind of a tough punch for us to take when we heard that about Tim. He was one of those guys that you could always rely on to pick you up when we had a tough time.
It's one thing to be good to people, and then it's another thing to take that step further. And one thing I remember about Tim was he was a true leader in the sense of going above and beyond to not just make you feel welcome, which was important, but to push you to be better.
I had the fortune of being Tim's roommate on the road in the hotels on many trips, and really got to know him and tend to get real close knit just the amount of time you spend together, and so it was certainly a brotherhood down there, and friendships that have lasted this many years. When we first heard the news, obviously I think anybody's natural reaction is you fear the worst initially. And then after that, you start to fear that there could be some long lasting effects.
When I had first heard about it and I was reaching out to Tim, it was amazing to be able to get Tim's text about, hey man, I'm gonna pull through this, a few days later, like just literally a few days later.
I can't remember who of the group texted me, but almost immediately it led to us creating a group chain. When Tim got through like the immediate intensive treatment, he said a little league boy had come in that he had coached. I think what it was is in his message, he said the boy was looking forward to playing catch with him again. That's a tough statement to bring up, but and I remember thinking, like, if you're going to send something nice to be able to like encourage him, why not incorporate some of his recovery into something that we all loved and that we know he loved, which was like, playing catch. What is better in life than playing a game of catch?
I remember a text, I might still have it on my phone somewhere, with a bunch of guys, and I thought the broken in glove kind of halfway to send Tim not just something that showed we cared, but also something that would benefit him physically and mentally at that time, which was, unquestionably, I would suppose, the most challenging time of his life. So, once we got that going, then there was a letter. We kind of all put our own little quotes and touches into it, and Tim was extremely moved and grateful. And I think that was the goal, is to show him that we're there, we care, and we were going to do anything to help him through.
Yeah, those first few nights were pretty tough. At this point, I was being lifted by like this kind of hammock type device that hangs from the ceiling. And that's kind of how I was getting around, because I wasn't able to do it on my own, and it was more difficult to have multiple people kind of move me. And at that point, I was just kind of frustrated, as you can imagine. And I just, the desire, I think, was just probably, to be honest, relatively low. But I want to say within days, just a few days, I hadn't even left the hospital yet to go to the rehab hospital, and G had called me. It doesn't matter, I guess, how far along I am away from the program or how much older I am now. I still look at him like he's my coach. So when I saw his name, come across my phone, I was like, shoot, I kind of like sat up straight, he still commands that respect, which I think is pretty cool. But that phone call, it came at a good time, because I was still kind of struggling. I hadn't made a whole lot of progress, and to kind of hear his inspiration and support, it meant a lot to me. And he very, very easily could have just made that the only phone call, but he didn't. He continued to kind of keep up with me and check in on me and motivate me and cheer me on. And that was fantastic. It was almost like I had never left the program. Like I was still, one of his players, and I was still part of the team. And to me, I realized that wins and losses are super important. And most people argue that it's the only thing that matters. But something like this, I think it really separates the program. That here I am, almost 20 years out, but yet I'm still part of the team. He's still reaching out to me. And then my teammates too, my gosh, they knew that I was coaching Little League, and like one of my goals was to kind of get back to that and play catch with some of my players. And they all kind of chipped in, and they bought me a brand new glove, wrote a beautiful letter. And they also got me one of those, I didn't even know they make them anymore like this. They come like half broken in because I couldn't really use my hand. And so it was just like super thoughtful of these guys. And they just continued to kind of check in. And it's kind of brought a lot of us back together. It's weird how events like that do. But then it's also remarkable how you don't leave their minds, even though it's 5 years, 10 years, whatever it's been since we've been in touch, they still care about you. They still want to be a part of your life, and they still want to cheer you on. And that meant a lot, and also G sent me some cool stuff. So I'm wearing one of them today. And I was super appreciative of that, because I like showing my Mo State gear off around Boston.
The program is your current players and your former players and the people that support it. So we feel like once you've played here, you'll remain part of that program. You would think that if someone played for you and you had them as a student athlete for however long a period, you would certainly remain loyal to them as they have been loyal to you. Jim Rafferty, he was with a special group of guys during that period, and they've remained very close.
I didn't know anything about this charity opportunities to be able to run the marathon in support of certain organizations and charities. My outpatient PT, he was kind of talking to me about that, and he said, we have a charity team that supports the marathon, and I think you'd be an awesome candidate for it. And at that point, I wasn't even running. I was barely walking. I think I was still using a cane. So for him to tell me that stuff, in the beginning when I first met him, I thought this guy's ridiculous. What is it? I never thought I would even see myself doing something like that.
If there's a person I can think of that I played baseball with in the 5 years there who is the most capable of enduring this and coming back, it was him.
A guy like Tim, we knew would obviously crush the rehab and get all that back.
I didn't wish this upon anybody, but if it was going to be somebody, I knew that he was completely capable of getting back to 100%, or at least as close to 100% as medically possible.
And then to have a conversation with Tim a couple months later, to where he literally tells me, he says, the doctor told me I'd never walk again. And within 2 days, I was walking down the hall and I said, "Hey, doc, take a look at me," right? And that's basically, I'm sure he had some potential other words for that, but it's hey, take a look at me, and it speaks to Tim. There's no doubt in my mind that Tim was going to be able to overcome what he's overcome as far as, his situation. And that's just a guy that's got some resilience. We learned a lot from him. He was like a big brother figure to me when I first came in. It's really inspiring, honestly, but none of it was surprising.
The night before the race, I was like a nervous wreck. The finish line is on Boylston Street. And once I got on that street, it was just all of the memories from 2 years ago up until now were just flooding my mind. And the street is lined with people, and they are screaming at you. And I have my name on my bib, and it almost feels individualized because they're screaming your name. They're so happy for you. And I just had all of these moments from being the time I had the stroke to being in the ER to all the people that I met, I just couldn't help but think about all of them. And of course, I couldn't help but think about the doctor who told me I may never walk again. And I thought, well, here I am 2 years later, crossing the finish line at the Boston Marathon. It just felt, it was so, this sense of accomplishment that it was something that I don't know that I felt that before. Like it was just, it was remarkable.